Hello, this is the Global News podcast from the BBC World Service, with reports and analysis from across the world. The latest news 7 days a week. BBC World Service podcasts are supported by advertising.
I'm Neil McCarthy, and just before this podcast starts, I want to let you know that all 10 episodes of Death in Ice Valley are now available to listen to and download. That's the whole series of what has already become our most popular ever new podcast. I'm one of the presenters, and I go on a journey through Europe and back in time to the Cold War. It's an investigation into a life and a death. If you haven't heard it yet, you can now listen to it all. Search for Death in Ice Valley wherever you found this podcast.
This is the Global News podcast from the BBC World Service. It's Tuesday, the 3rd of July. I'm Jackie Leonard, and at 13 hours GMT, that's 5 a.m. in San Francisco and 21 hours in Beijing, these are our main stories. Rescue teams in Thailand are trying to work out how best to get a group of boys out of the cave network in which they remain trapped. The former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak has been arrested on suspicion of corruption. And we look ahead to Pakistan's general elections and the growing challenges facing the ruling party. Also in this podcast.
It completely destroyed my youth. It took away, everything. I never experienced what it is like to be a happy child. I became extremely suicidal.
Now the British government says it'll ban conversion therapy practised in an attempt to make gay people straight. And we meet the winner of a prize for short stories written by African authors. In Thailand, after the jubilation at finding the 12 trapped boys and their football coach in a flooded cave complex yesterday, there have been warnings that their rescue could take as long as 4 months because of the monsoon rains. As we record this podcast, the boys are perched just a metre above the water. They are 5 kilometres underground in a dark, dank cave, having walked through a series of tunnels and chambers, reportedly as part of someone's birthday 10 days ago. 7 divers, a doctor and a nurse are with them. And so the rescue effort continues. The governor of Chiang Rai is Narongsak Osatanakorn.
The main plan, like I always say, is pumping the water out and changing from the searching phase to doctors taking care of them. If you ask me now, as we're making all-round assessments, I don't think there's a high chance of getting the boys out today.
This is a huge multinational rescue effort. Jessica Tate is spokeswoman for the US troops involved.
Now it's the next phase. What is the best and safest way to get the children recovered? So yes, these guys are qualified in medical, in diving. They are able to do ropes training, survive in confined spaces. So with that skill set, being able to share that with our Thai partners and help their effort.
The BBC's Howard Johnson has been at the rescue site today.
What we've heard today is there's a 3-point plan to look after the boys at the moment down in this cave, which is around 400 metres beyond where they thought they would find them in this area called Pattaya Beach. The first part of this plan is to give the boys energy gels to get their sugar levels back up. They're also working to try to make the area where they're staying, this ledge about a metre above the water table down there, more hospitable while they work out a plan and potentially look at the option of teaching the children how to dive. And also they're bringing in lots of stocks and supplies, 4 months worth of food and water. The idea there is that this rainy season we're seeing at the moment lasts for another 3 to 4 months, so that if in the worst case scenario the boys have to stay down there longer and the floodwaters come up and they have to stay down there rather than evacuate them, then at least they'll have the food, the air and the water to get them through this ordeal.
Now, their physical needs obviously are being taken care of, but it must be terrifying. They've been down there for over a week. They haven't seen their families all of this time. What sort of efforts are being made to try to look after their psychological, emotional needs?
Last night we saw divers, when they came up and met the boys, one of the comments was, you're very strong. The boys were actually in quite good spirits. What we've heard is a couple of the boys have injuries, the rest are in relatively good health. Mentally, no one really knows quite yet. There hasn't been a full assessment of how they're doing down there. But what we've heard today is that the governor of this province says he's working to set up a communication channel around 1.5 kilometres away from